Marco, who are you?
I'm Marco, working as a CTO since the beginning of this year at Ecofin, creating the software product Finvox.
As a CTO, what would you say are the main responsibilities of a CTO?
Well, it certainly is technology management, it's creating an architectural context, it's hiring people.
And how much does hiring take of your time?
Well, right now obviously a little bit more because we're in the position of hiring additional people helping us achieving our goals. I'd say at the moment it's something between 20 to 40% actually.
So very important for a CTO to nail the hiring. So can you tell us a little bit about what kind of process you have set up for Ecofin in terms of what's the timeline and what are the interview processes and why?
Excellent question, because I actually had to adjust it a little bit, because I personally think a neat, smooth, fast process is important for candidates. So at Ecofin, we're right now having a 3-stage process, which starts with an hour interview with myself. It's more about personal fit. The second stage is with the team. It's more about the technological fit, the way you work. And the third stage is with the CEO for a cultural fit.
So get to know, then technical skills, and then the overall cultural fit. So what factors do you take into consideration when deciding for a candidate?
In technology space, one would think that it's mainly about hard skills, knowing all the technologies. For me, it's not. Generally speaking, I hire for attitude and not necessarily for skill, because with the right attitude, you may anyway learn what you don't know yet till tomorrow. But relying just on any given hard skill, which might be outdated by tomorrow, is not the way to go for me. So it's mainly about the attitude. How do you deal with something new?
So curiosity,
motivation, having a competitive mindset a little bit, interested, continuous learner, collaboration.
And how do you measure those?
That's interesting. Usually I tend not to rely, in the hiring process, for example, not to rely too much on the existing references, because this always is kind of biased with a context, with the opinion of different people. I don't know any one of them, neither the candidate nor the former employer. So our 3-stage hiring process actually helps me getting the impression I need, and that's actually the way it works for me.
We also discuss communication. How do you ensure a transparent communication?
Actually, I have a rather strong belief in there. Software engineers are highly analytical people. So if kind of overselling does not work in a given space, then it's with software engineers. You shouldn't try to oversell there. It doesn't mean that you need to be negative in any way, but be transparent. Be fair, be humble, be nice, treat people the way you'd like to be treated. Really important. But do not oversell anything. We actually had excellent results just being fair, transparent. If transparency is a cultural value for your company, it might start actually in the hiring process, right? So just having transparency, what the job is, what it is not, or not right now, is important, and we really try to live that and make excellent results, experiences.
Some candidates can be nervous about sharing certain things, like they're in other processes or more personal information that affects the position as well. How do you make room for them to communicate? What's your expectation from them?
Well, first I try to be open myself. I like people. I like to get to know other new people. So trying to establish a relationship with the candidates in the very first meeting is important, just because I like them and they feel that. And then we have a transparent communication. I ask them sometimes directly, what are your other processes? And if you establish kind of a transparent relationship, people feel that, and then they're transparent with you. And so we may exchange fair information for each other.
Do you have a specific example of a candidate who really positively impressed you during an interview process?
Actually, there are many of you recently. And I'm always interested in people doing something special, could even be in their private life. If you have a competing mindset, you even see or feel that in their private space. And if they're sharing something there, you immediately know that someone having specific mindset we're looking for, being competitive, being interested, being open, doing new things. And we've seen that recently quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And this matches then excellent our context. We're a software product vendor. So we're looking for people trying or willing to work on a software product.
How important have communication skills become for engineers?
So I think being a senior relies on 3 pillars. One is hard skill, it's obvious technology. The second pillar is business, whatever business you're in, you need to be fit in the business. And the third pillar, probably the most important one nowadays, is personal development with its own challenges as communication, collaboration, and how you tackle challenges.
Do you have, from all your years of experience, do you have advice for fellow CTOs who are currently hiring engineers?
Yeah, maybe. For me, it's actually standard and given. You have to like people, you have to be fair, transparent, fast in or responsiveness, fast in giving responses. No one like to wait weeks. Be humble, be nice to people, and treat people the way you like to be treated too, actually.
Do you have advice for engineers who are currently interviewing, looking for their next opportunity?
Having such a hiring process together obviously is a relationship, and the relationship always has 2 ends, right? So one is the employer and the other end is the employee itself or the candidate. So I'd say cultural-wise or communication-wise, the same is valid for both ends. So be transparent, be fair, do not try to play a game, do not waste people's time. Mm-hmm. Show some interest, and then there's already a good foundation for whatever the discussion comes up with.
So you have different parties involved in the interview process. How do you ensure that there's a culture fit with the candidate?
That's interesting because we have a 3-stage process, which starts with me, then the team, then the CEO. And obviously everyone has her own view on the context. But at the very end, it has to be a combination of the 3 stages. So I'm trying to find out mainly cultural or collaboration things. I'm not necessarily doing any deep dives in technology. Mm-hmm. That is done with the team. The collaboration, any candidate is working day by day with the team. So it has to be a fit collaboration-wise with the team. And obviously at the 3rd stage with the CEO should be there to ensure the cultural fit.
For the team interview, how do you focus feedback?
I try to get the feedback from everyone involved in the hiring process and not relying on one specific, which might be biased anyway. So we quickly exchange our impressions. I even provide my one, and everyone involved provides hers. And then we take a final go or no-go decision for the 3rd stage.
What is more important, written references or your own interview experience with a candidate?
For me, clearly my own experience. Any written reference actually is biased. It's dependent on a given context you don't clearly know. So I'm relying on my own impressions.
Is there anything in particular that you want to talk about?
I think what I always had experienced or had nice experiences is, if you have an engineering mindset and you're talking to an engineer, if you experience something like green test bars, mm-hmm. Working software with automated pipelines, it already establishes a relationship with any engineer because she immediately knows that you know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And that just helps. So it makes perfect sense if you have a little bit experience with technology and software engineering in specific, because it's engineering and art and you need to know both worlds without the need to be the best engineer today yourself. That's not the case, and you shouldn't go down that road. Doesn't help anything because you hired a candidate for engineering products for you, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But nevertheless, it's important that you have a match on the engineering culture and mindset.
what would you advise software engineers that are starting just now that want to become a CTO in the future?
Interesting question. Because it's not only about technology. Technology is kind of given because it's a chief technology officer. But as a chief technology officer, you have various aspects as, for example, hiring, which could partially be seen as kind of a sales job. You're selling yourself, your company, your product, whatever you do. So this skill is required as well. And I'd say as a CTO in a company with 5+ people, you have to be aware that you're always working on system. One part could be software system, technology, but the other part is an organizational system. The way people collaborate, the way people share information, communicate. And it's certainly your duty as well, absolutely non-technology, but rather important because you have a leverage of the whole organization doing the right thing, right? Or, well, not. And that's important to know, even for a CTO.
So why do candidates ultimately decide for Ecofin?
I think because we're a software product company and because we're an engineering company, both worlds. And if you'd like to work on a software product which is being used for dozens or hundreds of people and users day by day, that's certainly something which helps us hiring top talent.